Well, fingers crossed, we are back now and all done and dusted. Unfortunately, someone was messed with the Streamlabs properties, so I'm not really sure why they would do that and make me sad. However, we are back, so fully gone and done and dusted. But Joseph, the incredible Joseph, is joining me alongside this one. The cars are on track, so we are going to be heading over very, very shortly. I say, actually, Joseph, let's just do that now. Let's be done and dusted with it, and we'll see our wonderful faces a little later on. And let's go on board immediately with Cameron Dowd's Tier 2. Did have their pole time sitting as a 1:13.3. Cameron Dowd's is definitely one of those that could probably beat that lap time.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, good evening, everybody. We are finally able to both communicate with you, so that is a good start. We're away from some of the issues, but what ideal track conditions we have this evening. We should see similar sort of lap times to that Tier 2 benchmark. We've seen it beaten by Kai Pearson already. 13.1, I imagine will break quite deep into the 12s if possible, because the skies are blue, a few light clouds overhead, but this is what the drivers were dreaming of.
Definitely, and they were all out at once. It's something that we mentioned quite early on, as we see NIL Tim there invalidate. That all of them are pretty much out on track at the same time, which means, well, usually means there's rain, but it's not that cloudy here. It's great weather, really, as Liam Bowman's a 13.2 there, so we're already beating the Tier 2 times. And as Macho comes through, but there is corner cutting here is very, very likely, isn't it? These drivers can get caught out quite easily.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not much room for error at certain corners. Turn 9 is going to be one of them where they run wide on the exit, they get caught out, and that is why many drivers are out there so early. They're just giving themselves time towards the end of the session, just in case they make mistakes on their bankers, just to give them all the time in the world to go again later on. Gabor has sort of done a double out lap, I think. So, again, it's that mistake on the first lap, turning it into a second out lap, and then being able to go again. So that's quite a smart move from Gabor. He still have time at the remainder of the session for 2 runs as well. But already these times looking quick. It's our main top 3, Kai Pearson, Liam Bowman, Tudi, really with a foothold over the rest of the field. Tudi, by the way, podium sitter for the first time last week.
Yeah, this is going to be great to see. Great to see Tudi back as well, because he was here before and it was kind of in and out, wasn't he? And now he's, unless I'm thinking of another Tudi, like I did with the first week when Matthew Hall and getting the wrong Matthews around, the wrong way around, as Joseph quite rightly put me correct there. But Gabor hopping over the curbs perfectly through Varante Alta there, turns 14 and 15 as he heads on down to turns, 16, 17 and 18, and then hopefully he will be looking at a strong time. The second push lap, because of his mistake on his first one, looks like it's... and I think I've just jinxed him there as he extends on the way out there. But it would have been a 13.5 there, throwing him into provisional P4 had that worked.
Yeah, unfortunately, just one of those moments at the final corner of the lap where, again, you've got the invitation of the serrated curb, the bit of AstroTurf, the concrete, I should say, on the outside that really drives you in. But, of course, if you're over that white line, it is, of course, an invalidation. It's a warning in the race, so expect some warnings, expect some 3-second penalties. And a 3-second penalty decided last week's race, didn't it? Kai Pearson on the penultimate lap as we were going racing again for the final time, following that late safety car. That's what cost him. It's, again, those subtle mistakes that he needs to be avoiding if he wants to have a second bid of becoming WOR Tier 1 champion.
Definitely, and that's what caught him out last time. And like you quite rightly mentioned, as here is last week's race winner coming through into Toza now and up the hill. And you know what? It's great to see a new driver on the winning podium, or the winning step of the podium. But I don't think Kai Pearson will be wanting to see that happen too much more this season, as we have a previous race winner race champion, Tier 1 champion in the chat of Reese Linton. So welcome along, Reese. Hope you're doing well. As at the moment, Joe Murphy, really, really solid at the moment as he heads on down through Varante Alta and into the last part of the track.
I think everybody is pleased for Joe Murphy. I mean, he's overcome some lag difficulties in recent weeks. He's finally got himself an Ethernet cable. That should be up and running tonight. And he is up and running in this session. 3,000ths quicker than Kai Pearson at the top of the timesheets. A great lap there and only his first in the session. He's always been competitive. He's taken it up to the next level. He was competitive throughout the race. It wasn't just handed to him. He was there or thereabouts and inherited that win when it absolutely mattered.
Definitely. Right place, right time, but also a skill element to it for Joe Murphy as well as a 5-place penalty to Quantum for blocking. So I'm guessing we're going to see ourselves as a world online restart as well. But Choco coming through. Oh, nearly. I want to say he got held through Aqua Minerale there as he was coming through that turn 13 part. I'm not sure. I don't know if you saw that one, Joseph. I'm not sure on the car either, but he won't be happy with that if that was the case.
Avoiding action, didn't he?
I unfortunately didn't catch any of that.
No.
I just heard avoiding action, but it's fine. Kai Pearson now with the penalty, so he won't be... we definitely will be restarting this with now 2 people going through. Here's Cameron Dowds, just about to start a lap, I believe, the Ferrari driver, as he heads on through into Tamburello now, as it's looking relatively good for the Ferrari driver so far, but he's got to get a time on the board to make sure he's in with a shout of going for the championship himself. He's a very quick driver, and he's up there, isn't he?
He is right up there, and it wasn't his best showing last week. I mean, qualifying was fairly lackluster in P11. He ended up finishing outside the points. Again, it's just that overall consistency that he needs to bring to the table in WOR Tier 1 to, again, have that shot of the championship. But chance to put things right this evening as he really does attack Aqua Minerale using a lot of that uphill inside curb, which a lot of drivers like to use aggressively. He's claiming he's purple in the middle sector, aiming for a low 13, as is the benchmark already. Down then in towards turn 16, the kink of the right-hander, then Ravazza, turn 17 and 18, it's a double left-hander, turning in out wide there, using all of the track on exit, valid this time, unlike what we saw with Gabor, and Cameron Dowds to the line, going 5th. There's only just over a 10th covering the top 5 at the moment, looking very competitive still.
Yeah, some cracking lap times through it. We'll go on board with the McLaren of Quantum, who pulls down to one side. Very odd line to take through, so I'm guessing he's going to start a new lap time instead of it being finishing a lap. So Macho up on his lap time just slightly. I wonder if it's going to be enough to put himself up, but that is a very, very good lap time from Cameron Dowds, and it shows the margins, doesn't it, of how close it can be for track invalidation to not.
Exactly, and Macho doing the same thing there at the final corner. He does improve, but not enough to see him gain a position and go into the top 10. Another factor as well, those sausage curbs through turns 2, 3, 4 at the Tamburello, 5 and 6 at the Variante Villeneuve as well. That makes racing a very difficult prospect because you think you can squeeze a driver. No, you really can't, because they're going straight over a sausage curb. They're going to be out of control, and that means that racecraft has to be perfect here. There's really no excuses for considering those sausage curbs in the wrong way.
Definitely not. Let's see. Kai Pearson, he's down on a lap time by the looks of things. There's no one really... I think there's a few people who are maybe taking that second out lap, which isn't really unheard of in F1 at certain tracks, but I wasn't really expecting it to be such a thing at Imola.
No, I mean, it's a fairly short circuit distance-wise, so the fuel on board can be enough, I should say, to have a second outlap. But yeah, it is, of course, an option, which is good because it means the drivers can get the lightest weight in terms of fuel on board and not take too much out of the tyres either. I've never really known Imola to be too hard, particularly on the soft compound. It can be a very good race tyre. So I'm sure we'll see it used in the race as well now that we have a restart. But yeah, I'm liking the mixture that we're seeing out there at the moment.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find someone that is actually going to be doing a lap time. Everyone else is just throwing themselves into the pit lane, but Joe Murphy is looking like he's on a lap time. Let's see what he can do. Currently our pole sitter with, I think, 5 minutes of the session remaining. What can the Alfa Romeo driver do? Through, and again, not as far off the track and using as much of it as other drivers, but then I say that, he does pretty much exactly the same as we've seen a couple of other drivers, and it's an invalidation. It's so close between what is and what isn't there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that was a fresh set as well for Joe Murphy, so I'm not sure if he was really pushing that lap. He was 3/10 down in the middle sector, maybe just an earlier mistake, but sometimes we see drivers just out there invalidating, getting a bit more track time under their belt before that final lap in the session. But yeah, clearly now maybe getting into Joe Murphy's mind that this final lap time absolutely has to count if he wants any chance of securing a maiden pole position a week after his maiden Tier 1 victory. It'd be some 2 weeks for him. Furious is 8/10 down. He'll surely be on an in lap. And welcome back, by the way, to PR Jack L, who is on a flyer at this stage. His last, he's got into the pits, but his last appearance was back in season 15. He's had some relapse of pedal issues and all other sorts of problems since then, but he's still here, he's still in the scene, and he's still in Tier 1.
Yeah, great to see some returning drivers back. It's always nice, isn't it? But we have got Flotman on a lap time, I believe. He's gone through Tozer pretty quickly, and hopefully that means he's going to be on a flyer. It looks like it's a flyer for the Williams man at the moment, and let's see how the lap continues to go. And when he goes over the sector timer mark, what does it say? It's up on his lap time by 0.2 of a second. That's going to improve him in the standings as well. So he's going to be pretty happy with that. He's just got to keep pushing.
Yeah, he does, and Flotman hasn't had the best of starts to the season. His qualifying back in Bahrain wasn't particularly good. He was able to make a recovery, but it was awful last week from his point of view. A P18 start, I think, turning into a DNF, but Flotman is back where he should be, back in that top 10, and that might be a session done, because we've got cars coming out of the pit lane with the clock on 2 minutes 47. He's going to try desperately hard, isn't he? He's cutting those corners. He wants one more go at this.
One more bite at the cherry. Let's see if he can get back in and done and dusted in time. Here is, though, NVR Stonks, as he's just about to finish his lap time, I believe. He's going very close to the over the white line there, but it looks all good at the moment for the Mercedes man as he comes to the line. Is it going to be quicker? It's provisional pole for NVR Stonks. Where has that come from?
Hello, Stonks. I was not expecting that from you. I am very speechless by that. NVR Stonks, that's not the pace I expected him to have in his locker. He's a brilliant qualifier, don't get me wrong, but he's not really threatened too much in qualifying sessions gone by in WOR Tier 1. Saying that, he did do a pretty good job last week putting it P6, but again, it was just that race performance that let him down. It's getting better by the week. I'll say that much about him. Flotman is back into the pit lane. We'll need a rapid turnaround from that Williams crew. The same can't be said about Stonks in the Mercedes. That is now going to be the official lap time to beat.
That's crazy. Quantum, though, I believe, may have been held up when he was the first one to start a lap time, having a little squabble with an Alfa Romeo there as well. So I think he might be a little bit annoyed as Quantum. Is it Gabor that's just going to... He's on his outlap, so he's going to be the first one now to set a final lap in anger. What can this Red Bull driver do? He's currently P7. He's had a good couple of weeks of qualifying. Well, last week he was... looking like he was going to have a good qualifying from memory serves me right from the stream, but I think maybe third row of the grid in the end. But his teammate Liam Bowman in fourth currently as well. Everyone is out on laps apart from Stonks and Flotman, who have now retired from the session. But it is going to be all about Gabba and what he can do. Can he stop Stonks' time at the moment?
Turn 9 was perfect at the Piratella, down in towards Aqua Minerale, again just clipping both inside curbs, using all of the track on the exit, up the hill, moving right, moving back to the left for the racing line in the braking zone, just after that curb appears. Oh, then he has a twitch over the sausage curb at the Variante Outer, he's backed out of his lap. That has cost him. He is not certain he can improve any more on that time that currently has him 7th. Big moment there. Everyone else, though, now on flying laps. And I think, well, it was Gabor heading into the pit lane. I think it's an AlphaTauri up next. It's Kai Pearson, who's 4/10 down and invalid. He won't be on pole this evening.
Definitely not. And that is insane to think that as well. Here comes Zorzo across the line. He doesn't improve either. It's an Aston Martin next. Is it going to be Jerry or is it going to be Tom? I think it's Tom. Let's have a look at it. He's across the line. He does not improves, but not enough. Ferrari driver, is that Cameron Dowd's coming? Difficult to keep an eye on. I think it was his teammate Macho who's not improved. There goes Cameron Dowd into P4. Liam Bowman is pole. Look how close that is. Wowee. And Murphy goes across the line. He doesn't improve. Well, he improves. No, he doesn't. He does not improve at all. And Joe Murphy will be 3rd. 2D, are you on a lap time or are you going to do anything special here across the line? He's quicker, but not enough. This is ridiculously close at the top of this league, though, right now.
I mean, that might be it, isn't it? Unless Quantum has something up his sleeve, he's invalid. Unless Yeri has something up his sleeve, he's 15 seconds down. That is one of the closest qualifyings in WOR Tier 1 for a long, long time. I don't know if anything has come closer, because in order to do that, they would have had to have the exact same lap time. Phenomenal scenes. 5 cars within a 10th as well. Closer than any qualifying we've seen so far this season. It even betters last week where Kai Pearson only had pole by 5 thousandths. Well done to Liam Bowman. It's a big lap to beat his fellow NVR driver by 1,000th in this session.
I don't know how to describe that, but Liam Bowman, Stonks, Murphy, Kai Pearson, Toody, Cameron Dowds, Gabble, Flopman, Tom and Yeri are your top 10. Then we've got Tim, Furious, Jack, Brando, Zorzo, Quantum, Choco, Macho, Moba and Keke. Oh, my goodness me. I really, really can't believe how close that is between those guys. And to be honest, you're right. I don't think we've had anything closer, Joseph. That is insanely close. But Stonks is going to be so annoyed because he was so close to claiming a pole position here in Tier 1.
He will be annoyed. I don't know how annoyed. Because, of course, they are both an NVR. It will just be friendly rivalry if that at all happens. But that is, again, clutch from Liam Bowman. There's been so many times he's been able to do that in a qualifying session where potentially he's been on the back foot. All the signs, again, of a brilliant qualifier. He just has to be able to convert this. Poles in round 1 and 3 now for Bowman. It was another late show back then. It's another late show here tonight. We are making a new lobby. That's why we have a bit of a break in play, as we always do in WOR, to be able to talk about that lap from Bowman.
Yeah, what a lap time. I'm unfortunate we never got a chance to see it. There's so much going on, but you know what? Wow. Fair play to both Stonks, everyone who were that close as well, because while that was insanely close, it was everything else going on as well. We will just quickly have a look at last week's race results. And obviously, Joseph, as you were there, I'll let you talk about this one. Obviously, it was a late safety car that really helped for a few of the drivers and unhelped one person because he got a penalty.
Absolutely. I mean, you didn't really need to watch until the final 2 laps, but it was a race from the off, really. Yeri started soft. Joe Murphy, Liam Bowman on hards, including Kai Pearson there as well, who was down in P6. There were some undercuts. Joe Murphy managed to get up into the lead by that lap 12 pit stop that he made. They all pit for medium tyres. They then all went on to soft when a lap 20 safety car came out. And at that point, Shizu Macho was yet to pit. 20 lap stint on the hard tyres. He came in for softs. He was leading the race because everybody else followed him in. It was a very small mistake on the exit of turn 23 that really did cost him an unlikely victory. BRT Joe Murphy winning by virtue of Kai Pearson's 3-second penalty. 2D, who also was there or thereabouts following that first round of pit stops, also taking a well-deserved podium. But for Kai Pearson, he was left ruining that mistake, finishing down in P6. He did try to get it appealed. It wasn't to be. DNFs also for Bowman, who sped into the pit lane on lap 13, rear-locking his tyres, another costly mistake in a race. And Yeri also with a separate incident.
So I did see that incident with Liam Bowman. He hit the wall, but then somehow didn't damage anything. So he got lucky, majorly lucky there. But let's have a look at the standings after 2 rounds here. 33 points to Kai Pearson and 31 to Joe Murphy. Is this now Joe Murphy? Has he got a chance at the title, do you think, with the after 2 rounds? I know it's 2 rounds in, but it's definitely surely a shout.
It's 2 rounds, but it's a fifth of the season. You know, we're talking a very short season. We're talking a driver in form in Joe Murphy. He might be able to stick with whoever. If it's Kai Pearson that's a championship leader, the best he can do is stick with him and give it his best shot in the final round, because we saw how unpredictable that was last season. But again, you know, we're seeing new names pop up into the potential frame week on week. Tudi went 4th with a P2. So, you know, at this early stage in the season, yes, it all can change the single result. And yes, we'll be potentially talking about a completely different order next week. So, again, it's just about scoring big in every round possible.
Yeah, and we look at that. The Cameron Dowd's 18 points there. So is Tudi. Macho with a 16 point there. Liam Bowman only 15 points. And, you know, that was someone we were touting at the beginning of the season to be possibly the main rival to Kai Pearson and winning the title. So these things definitely, come back to haunt you. And this could be one of those for Liam Bowman. Moba, Matthew Hall, Shazoo Tom and Flotman rounding out the rest of that the standings there. But wow, let's head back to qualifying for Imola. Ridiculously close at the top. If you've missed it, if you've only just joined us, where have you been? Because you've missed one of the highlights of qualifying this season. This game, I think, because that was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. I mean, Stonks shocked me enough as it was. But then Bowman to beat him by a second, it was almost insulting to Stonks. Poor guy, but yeah, it was just what Liam Bowman does best. But besides that, we've got a good grid, good reserves. Generally, I think this could be a pretty good race. I think it'll be slow to get going with the old DRS train that we always get every week, but yeah, it's really come alive in the previous few times we've been to Imola in the last few laps of the race.
Now, in the past, we've had the problem with the DRS activation zone. I mean, I'm casting my mind back to, I think, season 11 when I was commentating. Was it season 11 with, oh, goodness me, Alfie Butcher and
You've got one.
Tom Manley.
Yes.
There we go. Wow. There's some life in my old grey matter still. But, can we see any sort of incidents like that? Maybe not so much. I don't know.
I mean, they're esports rivals now. They were always destined to be competitive. We saw, you did. I was watching live at the time. They were destined to just go on and be the rivals that they are now. I mean, I wouldn't say we've got many other rivalries as similar tonight, but it's been chaotic in the week, I'll tell you that. And if there's any tensions boiling over from Tuesday night where Jerry Van Bussel, Kai Pearson came together, all that 15 incident mayhem in Las Vegas on Tuesday night from the Legacy Division, then yes, we might see it come here this evening. But other than that, I think it should be clean. There are a lot of lessons to be learnt, and hopefully not in the same manner as those former DRS games.
Yeah, gotta love some DRS games, but it's a tight circuit. It's an open but tight circuit as well. It's short. You quite mentioned it's a short lap time. I mean, they don't have that much. Well, we just seen how it is 1 minute 13 to get around the tire at the start of the race. Probably 1 minute 16, 17 to. I don't know really. To be perfectly honest, I'm just trying to fill time until we can get the lobby back up and running and going again. But there's a lot to be said about where people are going to make overtaking opportunities here. Is it going to be turns one, turn two technically, or are we going to see people dive it down into turn 17 after claiming the DRS?
I mean, the DRS is very powerful, so yeah, drivers will have to be patient and use that effectively, but you know, fresher tyres, you can force your way down the inside in a few corners. I'd say even Toza will be a likely place if you get the run out of the chicane, or indeed turn 17 at Ravazza, where you can get a second car down the inside where maybe you wouldn't want to at, say, the Variante Outer. So, yeah, you really need to think about your moves, make them properly, because, yeah, side by side into a usually single file chicane with sausage curbs lining either side of the apex. Do you want to take that risk? I don't think they do.
And for those of you, maybe this is a warning to those that do on that, you know, they might, I doubt they will be listening to us. They're probably got the race engineers and being very closed circuit. But if you do and you're 6th, 7th and you make a move up, let's say the turn 14 Variante Alta, and you make it not necessarily incident, but you lose that gap to the, you know, instead of it being half a second, it's now 1.1 seconds or 1.5 seconds. You lose DRS, and then you've broken the track, and you've lost the chance of possibly a podium.
Yeah, it's just simple decision making, and there were a few times or a few examples we've seen of drivers just not being patient, not going for moves at the correct time. Imola's a real test of that. I very much like it in this slot of the calendar, for that very reason. So we're 10 seconds away. It's all building up. We're getting a sort of early season make or break point, I feel.
Definitely. And you know what, if it's another 1-2 for Joe Murphy and Kai Pearson, they're setting some sort of not precedence maybe over the rest of the field, going catch us if you can, because at the moment they've got not a sizable lead in the championship, but if they do that tonight, that is only ever going to increase over the rest of the field. However, while we wait for it all to get itself, well, the lobby sorted and into the actual race itself, who do you think is going to take victory here tonight, guys? Let us know in the chat. Joseph, the question's over to you as well.
Oh, it's
I know
so
you hate
hard.
this question.
It's so hard because
Oh.
whoa. Hello, it's raining. I now have no idea based on this because I haven't even looked at what the drivers were saying about weather forecast. I've not been in that console tier 1 chat, and I had no idea that rain was going to come as intense as this. Based on what I can see, we've got a full wet tyre start. If I go over to the race director, I can confirm that. And I can also see that Cameron Dowds is experimenting with intermediate tyres. I don't have a clue.
Are we going to have a 2023 situation where they actually call it off because it's a monsoon? Let's hope not. We've got red flags off, right? So it is going to be a full wet start. It might clear up. We don't know. I've had a quick look in the chat, and there's nothing about rain in there. Wow.
Is it a mistake?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a mistake, but there is definitely some questions being asked in the chat. This is gonna, this adds another, I don't know, I guess, ingredient to the recipe of WOR console tier 1. it makes everything that little bit more difficult.
It does. I don't think it's a mistake because dynamic weather following a restart seems pretty standard practice nowadays, just so we still have the uncertainty between the two sessions. But again, drivers adding clicks to their wings and doing all this stuff that I don't understand because I'm rubbish at this game. I'll just put that out there. But yeah, it's the first bit of uncertainty thrown into this season, considering we've been to the desert twice.
Yeah, the likelihood of rain there is, well, I've had a wet Abu Dhabi, so I'm not going to say anything. This is going to be tough. Drivers have set themselves up possibly for a dry race. They've got themselves into that mindset, and we, from a commentator's point of view, we don't often see the guys practice in the wet. We don't often see wet races. Obviously, I'm not saying we've got it harder than they do by no stretch of the imagination, but it's difficult. It's going to be difficult to know who's going to come out on top because we don't have the data to follow it up.
We don't. I can't tell you how many short qualifyings in the dry and the first 10 laps of a dry race these guys might do on a Friday afternoon to warm up for the race, but they certainly don't take into account ever conditions like this because the chances of heavy rain throughout is always very unlikely. You often do get periods of dry weather as well, and you want to be in the best position for the dry period. That's when the track's the quickest, that's when everybody is at their best pace. So those that do come best prepared to a wet race have the best opportunity, and I think that's fair enough and shows good dedication.
Definitely. We are going to get ready though here for tonight's race, and it is very much underway, and it looks like a pretty decent start, as I do have a little bit of sound glitch going on, so I'll have to sort that soon enough because it is horrendous for you guys' ears, I'm sure. But Liam Bowman leads the way. Joe Murphy and Kai Pearson battling away in the background there as well. Oh. Someone's off the track. What has gone on there? Because there is huge carnage.
Yeah, Kai Pearson was on the inside of turn 3 alongside Joe Murphy. Kai Pearson was better out of turn 3. As a result, Joe Murphy was onto the gravel. Somehow, he's still going, and he's still in P7. He's up the inside of Tozer of TF10 2D. And I do want to immediately draw your attention to the tyre split. We've got, I think, 8 drivers on wets, the other 12 on intermediates. I have no idea which is quicker. We'll see that as the lap comes to an end and on the start of the next lap as well. But it does mean that we expect some lighter rain soon.
And we will get audio working for you guys soon, very, very shortly. But I may have to take quite a small intermission through this, but we want to make sure you guys see at least the first couple of laps to get it over and done, to get ourselves set. But do you think these guys on the intermediates have made a mistake because they're dropping back? Bowman is pulling away, Stonks is pulling away, and Kai Pearson's losing it a little bit, and Cameron Dowds is all the way back there as well.
I'm getting flashbacks, and somebody in the chat, if you don't mind, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Challengers on F1 22 very similar to this? It was wet, but I think maybe Harvey Cowan dominated from the front and did something with intermediate tyres. Quantum's gone around. That's the first Tamburello victim of the evening. Quantum there in the McLaren having to recover. We've got 3 drivers in the pit lane as well. Keke, Macho and Gabor all changing their front wings. Keke and Macho have gone on to wet, and Tootie's around as well. That's both McLarens.
Sorry to cut you off, but yeah, it looks like intermediates aren't the way forward, but Kai Pearson has been overtaken by Cameron Dowds.
He has, and that sort of fills me with more encouragement that the intermediates should be able to jump the wets sometime in the near future. Again, I don't know when this rain is just going to randomly start easing. It's another confusing variable that they've decided to add to this race. Cameron Dowds, on the other hand, may well have an intact front wing. Kai Pearson have quite a heavy hit with Joe Murphy. I wouldn't be surprised if there's any sort of problem with it, but he's got the exit out of the very anti-outer. That's no problem for him. He's back up into P3, but straight on! An uncharacteristic mistake from our championship leader. Far too late on the brakes for the conditions, and he's lost 2-3 positions as a result.
That is absolutely... Well, it's the things that we said about him last season that it needs to iron out, and it hasn't happened. He's struggling a little bit at the moment. We still don't know, though, if intermediates are the right tire to be on. I think it's at that swap over point, maybe. I guess I'm just guessing now. But Liam Bowman controlling this race right now, but Stonks is keeping him honest.
Joe Murphy's wide now as well. That's at turn 5 and turn 6 at the Variante Villeneuve. Kai Pearson goes in deep again. Now, this is another side-by-side battle between intermediates and wets. I think the wets have the traction. I don't think there's much doubt about that, because that's the second time Kai Pearson has just been a rocket ship on the exit of a corner in comparison to an intermediate runner. There's also no doubting that Liam Bowman and Stonks have done the right thing to prevent themselves losing positions off the start to any other wet runners. They've sort of followed that and made their own decision, which is a good thing. Yerry and Flotman, though, again, Flotman, it feels, has the better exit this time. So firmly in the balance.
It's incredible, isn't it? It's great to see. And it's kind of like, whoa, is that Flotman?
Oh.
What's happened to Jerry?
He's just gone straight on. What is going on at that corner? That's two seriously uncharacteristic mistakes now that we've seen down there. I don't think anybody knows where to brake. It feels like an open lobby when you first load up the game. when you first buy the game, never mind load it up. It's so confusing.
It is. It's difficult, and there's a back tail wiggle by Kai Pearson as well. And this is all very much You're right, uncharacteristic mistake from some of the best drivers on console, and it's just making things a little bit weird. Liam Bowman has pulled out a second gap in a lap. Maybe it's him pushing a little bit more. Cameron Dowds is still that 2-ish second mark. This is, I've just seen your comment. This is incredible to see. And there, a mistake from Furious allows, a mistake from Joe Murphy allows Furious through.
Joe Murphy's lagging again. I know he's had Ethernet problems. He's not long bought it. He's now having issues with it. And that could be a little bit of a problem again to race that Alfa Romeo. Hopefully it does manage to just sort itself out to the best of his broadband's ability. I don't even know how you measure that change across the race. But yeah, straight through him went Furious on that particular occasion. Again, lap 4 of 32. We were discussing potential DRS train, weren't we? Cameron Dowds is now the fastest lap setter. That's bettered by Flotman. I think this is turning now towards the intermediate tyres based on those purple lap times, but it's still so hard to gauge just how much the drivers are pushing to their full ability.
I was going to say that the spray doesn't seem as much, but I'm probably wrong with that. Stonks looks like he's dropping further from Liam Bowman. Cameron Dowds, I think you're right. I think it's swapped over. I think it's now the time for intermediates, and possibly the wet runners aren't going to go much further. 3-second time penalty to Tudi. That's something that will still happen in the wet, and possibly even more is track limits here are even worse in the wet.
Yeah, they are. You do not know how much understeer you're going to get corner by corner, especially when the track is starting to get a little bit quicker. And that is a factor that is certainly feeling Cameron Dowds at the moment. His intermediates are coming to life. He's all over the back of NVR Stonks. And, well, do we have ourselves a favourite in this race? We don't know just yet, because we don't know how long the rain in itself is going to last. Here comes Furious having a look on Kai Pearson, another driver that has potentially made a mistake in going for the wrong tyres. He made a mistake in general, going straight on at turn 17 a couple of laps ago. He's now going to hold up this train, but Furious has the exit, 6th, 7th gear, still accelerating beyond him, and Cameron Dowds at the same time is up P2.
Surely not Joe Murphy on Furious as well. He's going to give it a look, I think, but he decides better off it in the background. The two Alpha Tauris side by side as they go through. Wow, that was very, very close through Tamburello there. That I didn't think that they were going to come out as well as they did. Somehow, Kai Pearson is holding them up. But are we going to see more wet weather come? Could it go that way instead of go drier?
I honestly don't have a clue. We've got a McLaren off, though. That's what I do know. It's a safety car. Oh, the front wing off for 2D. And the podium sitter last week has found the barrier at the Variante Villeneuve. And that now gives the opportunity for those that are on wet tyres to surely come in for inters. Will the intermediate runners also go for fresh inters, or will they all gang up on the wet runners and take all that track position?
Now, with this safety car out, I am going to try. I'm going to go back to our wonderful faces. I'm going to try and sort out the audio glitch because I really do not want to hear cars that sound like they are going to explode and bubble and whatever. So I might need a re-invite, I'm afraid, Joseph, because I don't...
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely will do because this is. I don't think I could survive a full further couple of laps with that going on. Obviously, the wet weather. I wonder if Liam Bowman's popped himself into the pits. Has that happened? Has he gone onto a set of intermediate tyres?
We have a lot of drivers in the pit lane. Our top two did. Bowman did. Stonks did. Also following them in, Cameron Dowd. So he has gone for that fresh intermediate tyre that I was on about. Maybe trying to match and making sure that they themselves don't lose any position. Cameron Dowds has jumped Stonks. He was ahead anyway, so he's obviously still ahead of the Mercedes. Flotman, Kai also in. Flotman was on inters. Kai was on wets. He's coming for inters. Everybody on down has come in for fresh intermediates as well. But staying out, lap 7 of 32. TTM Furious leading the way ahead of Joe Murphy and Brando. The top three haven't pit.
So hopefully it actually looks like it's something with the Xbox itself, which is not ideal.
Oh no.
Because the sound on the Xbox is all fuzzy. So I'm going to do a full restart on the console, and hopefully we won't have to go through that. Sam, I do apologise that you're having to see our faces instead of the race, but I'm not 100% sure what is going on with audio. It wouldn't be a WOR Tier 1 night without some sort of technical issue. But we are going to be we're going to be back very, very shortly. Hopefully I'll get the... No, it's not fixed. So I hopefully...
Got a good idea.
Hopefully that doesn't mean that... Oh, perfect.
This is coverage. I don't even know what you can see, but there we go. Is it pointing the right way? I think it might be. That's the order, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it's the other way round. But yeah, it's fine. People can work it out. It's like a...
It's mirrored on the stream. There we go. Revolutionary.
Revolutionary, definitely. This isn't ideal, but I'm going... I don't know. I'm going to try it and hope for the best.
Got a better idea. Hang on. Is this going to work?
Let's go back. Let's go back. And see. I don't think it's going to work, unfortunately, Joseph. But we'll go back on track anyway. I'm going to save your guys' ears. Well, actually, I'm going to let you listen to it for a while, so you can understand why I won't put you through it. But the positional changes, Furious, Brando, all up 11 places. But Joe Murphy deciding to stay out might actually have helped him. They're on the more worn tyres. But am I suggesting or thinking correctly that you don't have to go back into the pits on to another set of tyres anyway. But if it goes to dry, they've got track position.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it will just be the case of judgment from the engineer, from the in-game engineer. They'll be saying, oh, 10, 20 minutes, and they'll go, yeah, quite fancy that, and they'll choose to stay out in this one. So that's maybe what they're thinking here. We're waiting on Macho to get racing again. It won't be on this lap. It will be another lap, which does that help the front three? Quite possibly, because that's just another lap closer to the dry period. It effectively moves any period forward in the race in comparison to the amount of time it takes. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, but it's nice to see everyone on a normal set of tyres now and not split like wets and inters. But it does look like it's stopped raining as much, so that could help the drivers. Well, I say could. It will definitely help the drivers to sort something and stop. Well, hopefully going off at turn 17 in the Rivasa, because well, we saw that by two really experienced drivers.
Yeah, no doubt about that, but they will have surely sorted that breaking point out by the time we go racing again. But under these rolling start conditions, it is still hard with the spray to see where you're going. It's not going to be easy by any means, this restart, especially those that have just come off the wet tyres, not quite knowing what to expect in terms of the track conditions, whereas those that were on the intermediates for those final few laps before the safety car, they will just have greater track knowledge. And it feels weird talking about track knowledge 9 laps into a race, but that's just how confusing this whole situation has been.
Definitely, and I think Charles said, was it Bahrain in real F1, that he shouldn't have gone on in his qualifying. You want to be going on to fresh tyres constantly so you can keep that momentum going. So knowing the track with the tyres is definitely a good idea. Cameron's dad has requested singing in the rain on the karaoke later, Joseph.
Good Lord.
We'll wait and see on that one. The safety car is in this lap. Furious is going to be the de facto one until he is into the pits and they can go racing again. But, yeah, lap 9 going into lap 10, and this is going to be very, very close indeed. When does the Mercedes driver decide to punch it and go? He might leave it quite late, but I don't think you want to leave it too late here at Imola as we head on through. And there we go. He's decided to go, and it's gone. And I don't think it's really done anything to get away, but there is still a huge gaggle of cars behind.
Kai Pearson's got a brilliant restart. He's already alongside and ahead of Flotman. In turn, hit by Zorzo. And that's going to be 10-pin bowling into turn 2. Zorzo very lucky. He just went straight into the back of Kai Pearson. When the two cars in front were side by side, I thought Kai Pearson was then going to go on and hit Stonks. Fortunately, it's nothing worse than that, and that they can all continue. But again, braking points being missed, just a bit of wet weather inexperience. Liam Bowman, though, is using all of his expertise to get past Joe Murphy. Fresher tyres by 6 laps there on the intermediates. He's up into P2 already, should be in the lead before you know it.
Enter championship challenge, maybe. And look at that, Cameron Dowd's trying up the inside, but it's not happening on that occasion. And poor Joe Murphy, I think these older tyres are going to be a little bit sitting ducks. Liam Bowman is all over the back of TTM Furious, and Joe Murphy is struggling to keep Cameron Dowds behind as we see Liam Bowman go to the inside, which will be the outside of turn 16, and fly past the Mercedes driver.
Yeah, indeed. Simple yet effective from Liam Bowman. A little bit deep into turn 17. Did manage to get his car slowed down, though. It's always been a challenge getting down the inside at Ravatsu without going in too hot in the dry. Never mind the wet. Liam Bowman, of course, with the fastest lap of the race now as well, even despite having to overtake 2 cars. By far the favourite in this one, unless Cameron Dowd can do something about it. His first step is to overtake Furious. He's cleared him down the inside at turn 2. Stonks next in line, trying to look for the switchback on his Mercedes teammate, getting on the battery. Furious won't make it easy, despite their teammate allegiances in WOR. Kai Pearson ahead of Joe Murphy, and I think those who stayed out are going to be regretting this.
Definitely, and I tell you what, it wasn't Stonks that looks like he was attacking furious after Cameron Dowds. It was Joe Murphy. Stonks threw it up the inside, down into Tamburello, and made an incredible move on 2 drivers. Fair play to the man who got second place in qualifying and is now looking incredibly quick. And Cameron Dowds is all over the back of Liam Bowman. The 2 Scotsmen are definitely going to be fighting over this one, and Stonks and Kai Pearsons are into it now as well. Flopman is all over the back of Furious. There's a yellow flag for some reason. It looks like Gabor has gone, and is that another safety car?
It is. There was a separate incident beforehand. Tim and Jack L looked like they were involved. And then we just cut to Gabor and see he's skating across the track and into the barrier. He caused the last safety car of the race last week. He caused the second safety car of the race this week. Now, what happens here? Cameron Dowds is pitting. Oh, and so is everyone else behind, bar Flopman. Fresh into mediums. Oh my word, they're going for slicks. I can't believe it.
This is going to be insane start to the race. Start to the race. Continuation of the race, I should say. Furious has gone on to hards. There's mediums all around him. And the drivers that have stayed out are on, obviously intermediates. Choco's into the pits as well. So the top 7 now have yet to pit. But these guys have gone on to dry tyres. But it's still raining. Surely that is not the wise idea.
I don't know. They'll be, again, begging down the radio, screaming down the radio, weather update as it is, and probably getting some pretty mixed responses at this moment in time. Will dry shortly, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Is that worth a punt so far out to get yourself on the dry tyre? They will wear in these, still in these damp conditions. They're not going to be in perfect condition by the time we get back racing again. The only thing they can do is try and look after them under this safety car and just hope that it dries up by the time we reach the end. It's almost spitting now. That's just our British word for very light rain. And I think they might have a good shout with these tyres, actually, the slick runners.
I think they might do. The audio's definitely out of sync. I thought I got it back working, but I think it's just the game audio that's the problem. So I might, under safety car, I might try another quick fix. I'm not 100% sure what will do it, but I'll, Joseph, over to you quickly while under the safety car. Actually, saying that, into the pits come the leaders. Have they done enough? No, that's not going to be enough for them to come back out in front of the guys. Oh, dearie me.
No. They've got a lap later. They didn't anticipate the rain stopping so soon. And now they have no other choice, do they, but to match what everyone else has done and gone for slick tyres. I tell you what, Cameron Dowds has made 2 exceptional strategy calls. I don't know if it's him. I don't know who's engineering him this evening, but the 2 hurdles he's had to jump over so far, and I know it's only lap 13. I know there is going to be so much more to finish this race, but that is very encouraging for a driver that hasn't had too much WR Tier 1 experience under his belt. He's made a very good job of it so far. What's interesting is Furious went onto the hards when pitting under that first safety car lap. Yerry has gone for hards from that second lap. So, shall we see if Furious has anything to answer with on a hard compound in comparison to everyone else looking to get to the end on a medium?
That is a very good point. It has Furious, we've been saying about Cameron Dowds making 2 insane calls, but has Furious just made one as well? Or have they made a massive mistake? Or are things going to go completely the other way and rain happens again? Who knows? This race has pretty much had it all.
What more can we have at this point? We've had full wets, inters, mediums, hards, 2 safety cars, a crash. People going straight on, wings flying.
Maybe a crash into the pit lane next. Who knows? As behind the safety car, let's go on board with Cameron Dowds, and obviously supported and cheered on by his father in the chat as well. It's great to see that this man has got this young man, young indeed, is there's surely a little bit of pressure on him.
Yes, there is, but he knows he's got support, and I'll tell you what, I think a lot of young drivers. I mean, it reminds me of the Bearman situation last week, where every 5 laps the camera just cut to Father Bearman. It just feels like we need a Cameron Dowd's Father Cam. Just to cut over to on your side on the Streamlabs stuff. We need that set up for future races. But no, it's great. Spitting image, actually. Both in Ferraris, both having support, the pressure, everything behind them to go on and be a championship contender, which is what Cameron Dowds is looking to do.
Yeah, well, just a moment ago we were saying about Liam Bowman and his, enter a championship battle. But all of a sudden he's back down to 6th place. I say back down to 6th place. It's still good points and still in with a chance of a title. But being a shorter season, 10 races long, 10 seasons long, it's I don't know how many more times we can say that it could cause problems later on.
I think there are a lot of problems that could still occur in this race. I think strategically they are prepared for absolutely anything out there, and that's good because we've seen 2 pit stops in this race already, and I don't think any more is going to phase these drivers. Here we go with Cameron Dowds leading us a safety car restart, the winner back in Austria last season, a legacy division winner now as well in Brazil, winning pedigree under his belt, a favourite for tonight, having weathered the storm so far. It's an exceptional restart, gunning off the final corner and clearing stonks by 9/10 of a second.
That was an insane restart from Cameron Downs. I think he even started at turn 17, and it's completely caught Stonks off guard, but Kai Pearson is right there with Stonks as well, and I think that's possibly what Cameron Dowds is aware of. Kai, even on his bad days, he's still picking up points, and a man that definitely wants the title this time around of asking. Liam Bowman all over the back of Furious, who's obviously on that hard set of tyres, Quantum, and I hope I don't cause any harm by saying this, is in a little bit of higher up position than we expected at Imola, so could cause a little bit of a bottleneck to us tonight.
I mean, I have no idea how he's 4th. I could have sworn he was backwards about 10 laps ago, but he's nearly backwards again. Massive slide at the top of the the Aqua Minerale sequence of corners. This is just the track still damp, the tyres still cold, and Quantum doing everything there to try and keep it out of the barrier. Fair play to him. I mean, he's had 2 safety cars to recover, and he's used those very effectively indeed. Bowman flies down the inside of Furious. It will take Furious a lap or 2 extra longer, I think, to find some pace being on the hards.
This is incredible. Tom is the fastest man on the lap. It's looking drier now, and we've only just hit halfway, barely hit halfway stage of the race. We've had 2 safety cars. We've gone from wet to dry, and we've had insane amount of incidents to digest. But we're still hopefully going to have more of the same very, very shortly on. Quantum's recovered a little bit and nearly back into the DRS. We haven't had the DRS activated sign come up yet. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I think they won't be using DRS just yet. So he's got a little bit of time to get himself back within that second. But the top 3 looking very, very close.
The next lap it will be enabled, but they won't be able to use it until the lap after, because the detection point is before the end of the lap around here. So another 2 laps, really, until we see the first of the DRS. Stonks has closed up a little bit to Cameron Dowds. That's because he's used half of his battery. Cameron Dowds hasn't used much at all, and that will keep him in tip-top shape for the remainder of this race. We're only just hitting half distance now. It's felt like such a long race with everything in it, but we've still got double the action remaining. Cameron Dowds across the line, surely with a purple lap. Yes, he does. DRS now enabled as well. Liam Bowman with a purple lap. Kai Pearson on the back of Stonks, our championship leader, up into P2. Does Stonks give way to him? Yes, he does. And that is an unproblematic move into the first corner.
And Quantum's caught up with that. I wonder if that's more because of the ERS usage to get himself back into the swing of things. Kai Pearson, 0.6 of a second behind Cameron Dowds. This could be a season-long battle between the two of them, but Kai is fastest in the first sector, with, you believe, the purple sector mark there. And this is going to be really, really tight for the remainder of the race. We're going to see our DRS battles and our slipstream trains and whatever you want to call it, DRS trains, that we were talking about very early on. Then all of a sudden we saw rain. But it's close, it's good, it's incredible racing, isn't it?
It is incredible, and that's exactly what we want. And I think, you know, Bahrain was good, Saudi Arabia was a little bit better from a neutral point of view, but I think this is going to be very hard to top as a race of the season candidate so far, and the number of overtakes as well, because of all the tyre differences and the confusion at the start, the pit stop shuffles, everything. Yeah, it's going to be a hard number to beat, that's for sure. Moba is ahead of Zorzo. Moba's had a quiet race. I think he had a penalty earlier on, which he may have served in the second pit stop. That's why he's slightly out of position, but now up into P10, thriving in these drier conditions, and looking forward.
Definitely, and it looks like Cameron Dowd's possibly struggling a little bit at the moment, especially in that first sector. Kai Pearson is hounding him all over the place as well. And Kai, I think, realises how close Liam Bowman is, and Joe Murphy, his main championship rival, is down in 18th place, which I didn't think I was going to be saying that tonight, but he is there at the moment. There's still, it's inevitable that more will happen in this race, but Kai Pearson's dropping off a little bit from Cameron Dowds at the moment. I wonder if that is planned or if it's unplanned. We'll wait and see. But there's lots of still unanswered questions in this Grand Prix.
So many indeed, and well, this is now the first time we're really going to see the full effectiveness of DRS. Kai Pearson, 75% battery. Cameron Dowds also still a nicely topped up battery as well. Shazoo Tom, the quickest car on the circuit. It just feels like this train is only ever going to get closer as we go towards the end of the race as well. And there's also the element of just managing tyres. I mean, the mediums should comfortably be able to go the distance. There's no reason why they'd have put them on if they weren't going to. But yeah, it's still going to be a pretty tricky beast to handle, these cars, by the time we get to the end of the race.
Now, someone I'm being really impressed with throughout, in wet and dry, is MVR Stonks. He has kept pace. You know, it was mentioned earlier that, you know, he's very good at qualifying, but kind of, I don't want to say dies away, but his qualifying pace is better than his race pace. He's still up there. He's third at the moment. I know he qualified second, but he's in with a great chance of a podium tonight. Let's hope he doesn't get a penalty, and I hope I haven't jinxed him with that, but he's doing a really good job at the moment.
Yeah, he is. I think everybody out there is doing a pretty reasonable job at the moment, and there's a lot of drivers, actually, that may feel like they've got race-winning pace, but they just can't use it. And they don't know what their pace is like compared to everyone else, because we're now in that regular DRS train that we usually see at the start of every race. It's now come halfway through and could well last to the end. We've sort of had a reverse race going on here, which is, of course, one of the gimmicks that maybe should be explored in real-life Formula 1, but we won't talk about that at this moment in time. Feels like a marathon, not a sprint.
Definitely. And that's a great analogy, reverse race. And it's great, isn't it? You know, great to see these guys handle the pressures in a different way. We don't usually get this in WOR. We don't usually get such a difference as Quantum is being hounded by Liam Bowman. And Liam Bowman is after blood, I think. He desperately wants to get this position. He knows he needs to make amends after last week.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of drivers now really wanting to right the wrongs of their first two races of the season. There's never been a better opportunity to do so in such a tight field. At the back, TF10 2D, who caused that first safety car, now has a repaired front wing, also has a 3-second penalty to his name, has overtaken Joe Murphy, our most recent and newest Tier 1 race winner. At the front of the field, the sun's coming out, it's looking bright overhead, especially for Cameron Dowds and Kai Pearson. who, of course, still have nicely topped up batteries. Bowman and Quantum side by side. That's Bowman for P4. They won't fight that one out. They're too close friends to really be scrapping that one into the Tamburello. But Bowman's up to 4th.
Yeah, Liam Bowman's, I don't want to say recovery drive, but you could kind of say that, couldn't you? With maybe making the wrong decision on tyres at the start of the race and whatnot. But he's up into 4th. Furious, though, still looking strong. Lap 21 of 32. Are we going to see Furious really come into a life of his own in the last 5-6 laps?
I think so. I don't know what the tyre wear difference is around here in terms of percentage per lap, but he's not gone anywhere, has he, Furious? It looked like he may have just dropped a few more positions following the safety car restart, purely because it was damp. I think Quantum slipped straight through down the inside at, I think it was Ravazza. Now Furious looking for that move on Quantum. So let's see how this one goes. Furious a little bit oversteery coming through the first part of the Ravazza, but now he's on the overtake. He sees Quantum. This is potentially a weak point for him. He defends to the middle of the circuit. Furious squeezing down the inside at turn 1. This is the official turn 1. He's going to look to take Bowman as well, but he just ends up getting a bit boxed in. But one position is more than good enough for him. A tap in the rear left, but he's through and up to 5th.
Yeah, that's a terrible camera angle coming down through turn 1, or the real turn 1, as Quantum looks like he's really struggling for pace. He's got Shazoo Tom, who's desperate to make a move. He might try to go around the outside of Tozer. He thinks better of it, but Quantum in a little bit of pain right now. I don't know what's wrong, whether he's overheated his tyres somewhere or he's burnt all of his ERS or what, and not using the ERS in the right positions. But Tom is desperate. He's, going in either mirror to go, maybe trying to put Quantum off and say, look, I want that position.
Donk's having a 3-second penalty now to his name as well. Well called by Nick Bonventure in the chat. AxF1, a former Crossplay Tier 1 driver himself, getting that absolutely spot on. But yeah, I think this is a ERS issue for Quantum. Again, just a little bit too much usage earlier on in the stint, and I think Tom is going to see that weakness, get on the battery himself, and potentially go for P6 here. Quantum just has nothing to defend with. He's going to lose another position. We've lost Macho, the final corner, 3rd safety car.
Well, it's not over, and the safety car's coming out of the pits, and I wonder, this might have messed up Furious's race, unfortunately. But I wonder if anyone else will take a gamble and go into the pits now. You mentioned that softs are all right on this track. Do you think people are going to risk it?
I think they would be silly not to get a fresh set of tyres on here. Those mediums are going to be quite knackered. Not dead, but knackered by the end of the race. And this is up to Cameron Dowds now to completely dictate the pack. I mean, if he comes in, maybe some people will stay out and try and hold on to the track position. But if he doesn't come in, everybody else will, because they'll just see him as a weakness, an easier target at the end of this race. It's a horrible situation for any driver to be in. Mediums would be the safe bet. Softs would be the risk, but one that might pay off.
Well, Avatar and Nick both saying mediums. James is going for softs. In the chat, that's what they're saying it should happen. I mean, it's a great shout no matter what. It's going to be really so interesting to see what they do. I suppose it is time to go on board with Cameron Dowds, really, as we're coming to the end of the Grand Prix. Does he go in? Yep, this is going to be interesting. Poor old, I'm trying to think, Furious is going to be held by Stonks in the pit lane, which is not great. Moba will get the same punishment there. And,
oh, my word. Choco.
Oh, Choco. Oh,
That's
Choco.
brilliant. I rate that. I really do rate that. That's a driver that knows he was going to be at the back, just going straight to the front, just skipping the lunch queue with all the drivers in the pit lane. But equally, pitting next lap even fresher on the soft tyres, and just, seeing how we can cut through the field at the end. Wow, Axe is saying, Nick is saying softs if you're out of the top 10. Everyone's gone softs. Gone.
So, Are we going to see maybe some tyre wear? I mean, James is saying 5% a lap. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. No matter what, we have had everything. We've had every set of tyres used at this Grand Prix. It's not often we get to say that.
Yes. 3 pit stops for the majority, if not all drivers. 4, I think, for some drivers at the back of the field, including Jack L, including Keke in P12. Keke always seems to be outside the points permanently, but comes alive when there's a late safety car like this. So fair play to him for continuously sticking on and making that work. But this has been a race, a one-of-a-kind race in WOR Tier 1. Certainly probably one of the races of the game, never mind the season. And we still don't know which way it's going to go. Cameron Dowds has been exceptional in his management. He'll have another tricky situation. It's Kai Pearson on his tail from the absolute off here. Choco has come into the pit lane. He's not stupid. He was just taking that lap extra to make his mind up.
Yeah, I think that wise as well. I mean, it's what 1 lap extra, but how often have we seen 1 lap younger tyres be the difference in a point and no points? So it's a great, maybe I say maybe he was down the bottom end anyway, so he's not really lost anything. No,
and like I said, lap fresher tyres, even if it's 2-3%, no penalty to his name as well, so could in theory gain 3-4 positions just on that alone, and all the crashes that might occur with cars going side by side, taking every last bit of track position at the end of the race. It's always worth just holding yourself out there and then just going to the back, I think, under this safety car. Cameron Dowds will have another safety car restart at the end of this lap. His first was exceptional. Can he do the same this time?
Now, this is going to be... obviously, Kai Pearson's a different beast behind you as well. Maybe a little bit wiser to these safety car restarts, and he's done plenty himself. So maybe Kai won't be as fooled, but this is going to be... It's just got the hallmarks. We've been saying it, you've been saying it, to be one of the best races of the game cycle, and I can't wait. Oh my goodness me! And very, very slow, brakes on, and a 5-second penalty to Kai Pearson for clipping Cameron Dowds.
See, I didn't have Cameron's telemetry. I don't know whether he stopped a little bit too suddenly for Kai Pearson. Was it a lapse in concentration? Either way, if both drivers are fine, that is a very appealable penalty, but one that is weighing on the shoulders of Kai Pearson once again at the end of a race. Another late safety car. Cameron Dowds leads us away. Not as good as restart as the first. Bear in mind, it's sunny now. The sky is here in Imola. Lap 26 of 32, 7 to go.
Wow, 20. Can't believe we've had so much in this race. Kai Pearson's going to go for it surely at some stage. He hasn't found any room, unfortunately, on this occasion for him. And Cameron Dowd still leads as they head on through to the rest of this lap. And I say the rest of the lap into turns 5 and 6. But it looks like maybe Liam Bowman hasn't had the start of this under the new safety car as he would have wanted, because he struggled a little bit to keep up with the front three.
Yeah, I mean, everybody now within a chance of looking for that podium, considering there's 2 drivers with penalties now. Furious dropping to the top 10 when he did have dropping to 10th when he did have eyes set on the top 3 with his hard tyres. It's come to an equal playing field. He had to double stack with Stonks, and unfortunately it's just not gone his way. Quantum, though, picking up a 3-second penalty. That will promote him an additional position. He's already looking to go alongside Zorzo. Is Furious now. Might be the only threat of an overtake coming in towards Ravazza. Flopman's going for it. Brando holds the outside line into the final corner now of the circuit. Wheel banging between the two. Could have maybe taken a little bit more care there, Flopman on the inside, but regardless, still wheel to wheel, down the start-finish straight. Liam Bowman sets the quickest lap of the race. He'll be desperate to clear Stonks on track, then Kai Pearson on track. His championship fight has been reignited.
Brando's being collected by Zorzo as well, and that is a very opportunistic move by Zorzo, and fair play to him for getting it done and dusted. Back up to the leaders of this race as it looks like Liam Bowman's managed to get himself back into the swing of things. Shazoo Toms had a very, very quiet race, but he's up into P5.
I'm just hearing from Macho in the console tier 1 chat. He was pitting and going into AI, and said AI just turned him into a wall. So that is why we've got the sprint that we currently do now. We said we didn't quite have everything. Something was missing. You even said it. Somebody crashing into the pit lane.
Yeah, maybe shouldn't have said it at all, but we got to love a little bit of controversy, surely. As well, it's great to see. It has been, I want to say, the race of the game cycle, because we've had everything. DRS is now back open again, and what can happen? As did we lose you there, Joseph? Did you?
You pressed mute for me.
Oh, I know. I know what's going on. I know what's going on.
Push to talk or something?
No. The cat is sleeping on my
oh no
keyboard.
Oh, add that to the race facts for what's happened. The list of things.
Back under Ray Racing. Hopefully, well, thankfully the stream could still hear me. It was only unfortunately you that had the issues. But well, Stonks are still up there. He's obviously got that 3-second time penalty, which is going to be throw him down the order a little bit. But Kai Pearson with that 5 seconds, I wonder if that could get. It really does depend on everything, whether that gets removed. But 5 seconds is going to knock him well down.
It will be well down, and he's got good grounds to appeal that. That's a straight 5 seconds, evident there and then. So won't be as difficult to appeal as that 3 seconds last week that dropped him to P6 from the race win. Here comes Kai Pearson for the potential race lead. He's using his battery. He's opened up the DRS. He's moved to the right-hand side, and Cameron Dowds backs out. So Kai Pearson has the lead. Oh my word, Stocks out of nowhere. That was aggressive around the outside. It was a pinch point for Cameron Dowds, who's lost 2 positions down the start-finish straight.
And it nearly collected Liam Bowman and Shazoo Tom out of all this as well. And Tom's had to, well, maybe the momentum's gone a little bit. And Liam Bowman's up the inside of his fellow compatriot, and that's going to push Cameron Dowds wide a little bit. This is going to be close as they come up into Piratella and turn 9. And Liam Bowman, possibly the wise thing to do, has pulled out of that move. But my goodness me, Stonks desperate to keep in with Kai Pearson, because Kai Pearson's decided, well, looking like he's trying to bolt.
Yeah, he does. He knows that he's got that race win in his hands regardless of that penalty. Cameron Dowds, on the other hand, well, he also still has a P2 to be lined up here, and he is in a better ERS situation than both Stonks and Bowman. Bowman probably wanting to go for it just so that he is there with Stonks and effectively creating a double blockade against Cameron Dowds. It's smart. The drivers do think like that. Here comes Cameron Dowds. Cameron wants to stay in the DRS of Kai Pearson. He's been shown the grass. Absolutely no room there for Cameron Dowds. Aggressive defending as it comes. Bowman into the back of Cameron Dowds at Tamburello. It's getting very aggressive now. Cameron missing out on the opportunity to take P2 and having the chance to take Kai Pearson on track. But this is turning into a very aggressive ending.
Yes, it is, and literally we are having everything. Lap 30 of 32. We've had a wet start to this Grand Prix, mixed of wets and inters. Then we went and had a safety car. Then it went to inters. Then we had another safety car, and people went to dries, and some hards and some mediums. Then we had another safety car, and we've got this sprint race that's happening now, and Kai Pearson might not be able to hold on like he did last time. I think he could get swallowed up, and Liam Bowman, I think, has had a massive mistake because he's 1.5 seconds behind Cameron Dowds.
Yeah, he has. I think Aqua Minerale, I don't think there's any other place where that could have occurred, to lose so much time so suddenly. That gives Cameron some breathing room behind and almost certainly keeps him on the podium this evening with 2 laps left to go of this race. Furious, Flotman's gone wide. I think that was involving Furious. Oh, crash! And Flotman is out of this race. He was wheel-to-wheel there with FVR Zorzo as they came back onto the track, and Flotman was straight into the barrier. Here comes Cameron Dowds to the outside at Tamburello. He's got the move done, gives Stonks the squeeze. He was almost off the track there, but I think that was just about fair.
Yeah, I think elbows out, and I think maybe a little bit of repayment for earlier, but Quantum picking up another penalty there, so he's going to definitely be out of the points of this Grand Prix, I think, at the end of it. Kai Pearson going to try bolt again on lap 31 as they come on down. Liam Bowman's caught... Well, Shazoo Tom's got past Liam Bowman out of all this as well. Shazoo Tom is in with a chance of a podium.
It will be a podium based on that Stonks penalty. It will be P2 if Kai Pearson doesn't get his removed. Cameron Dowds is out of ERS though. He has tried desperately to get within the 1 second of Kai Pearson, and I don't think that is going to happen for him. That will leave a straight fight between Stonks and Cameron Dowds for the on-track position. And this could be interesting based on their first 2 episodes of fighting in the last 2 laps. Final lap to come, Kai Pearson surely with a race win on track in the bag.
Yep, and well, he's had one of those last week already. Here comes Stocks through and past, and it was taken away from him. Shazoo Tom gets very close to the back end. The DRS is so powerful down that straight, but it wasn't enough to get him past Cameron Dowds. But Cameron Dowds has got to be careful because he could lose that second place from to Shazoo Tom.
Yeah, he could indeed, but of course, it's a Shazoo inter-team podium fight this, so I don't think they will fight this one too hard, just as, you know, NVR have been making their respective calls as well and fighting each other differently. It's obvious. I'm not saying it doesn't exist in WOR Tier 1. It does. We know that very much, but this surely is going to be a fair outcome to the end of the race. I mean, Shazoo Tom is all over the back of Cameron Dowds, but the last thing either of them want to do is risk it. Kai Pearson, though, has driven absolutely exceptionally, bar that 5-second penalty, of course, which we assume will get removed. It's a driver that made mistakes at the start, but is very much back on track.
What a drive from Kai Pearson. He's done exactly what you've said. It's brilliant as well. Can't quite believe what we're seeing with all the movings of drivers. Kai Pearson going down to 6th place with all that. Keke has got a 7th place finish. Brilliant for him. Brando in 8th. Joe Murphy, well, we kind of forgot about him towards the end of the race, but he's managed to get some points. That could be crucial come the end of the season.
It could. 2 points. Fair play to him following a difficult start to the race. Wasn't able to recover, you know, under the first, second safety car as effectively as some others, but either way, 2 points. Can't really go too wrong with that, in all honesty. Second time in as many weeks that Kai Pearson has a penalty that drops him down to 6th, but this time, like I said, might be a bit different.
It's from the looks of things, it, you know, might very well do, as we'll wait for the drive of the day to pop up, and that's TTM Furious. It was a relatively good drive for him. I do agree with the game on that one, but was it drive of the day worthy, Joseph?
Driver of the day is, I mean, how do you even determine driver of the day in a situation like that? Very strange that we even have that in the game still, because it only goes and awards the person that makes up the most positions. But speaking of positions, Cameron Dowds was from 6th on the grids, winning there unofficially for the time being. Shazoo Tom from 9th to 2nd. So again, how they've plucked out Furious doesn't make much sense to me. Bowman from pole finishing 3rd ahead of Stonks, who despite that 3-second penalty could have been a very different race for him, doing a good job there. Furious in 5th, making good end of the race there on the soft tyres, where he lost positions under the safety car. Keke, Brando, Joe Murphy and PR Jack L. His first points for 2 seasons for Jack there. Congratulations to him. Choco just missing out. We were talking about the possibility of having that lap fresher tyres. It almost paid off for him.
Yeah, unfortunate for Choco there. Then we had Zorzo, Moba, Tim, Quantum with his two lots of penalties there. 2D as well. The 2 McLarens not having the best of luck through all that. And then Jerry being the last driver to finish. Flotman, Macho and Gabble failed to finish. And I'm sure Flotman is going to be pretty frustrated with that one. So we head on back to ourselves. And what a race. We had everything. We often say, oh, goodness, we nearly had everything. We had everything.
We did. Where do we start? It felt like a long time ago since that race started, with a 50-50 split of wets and intermediates. The intermediates, right as they were quicker, first safety car comes out. plain reset, everyone in intermediates. Then we had to switch to mediums, which some drivers got wrong a lap later, but it wasn't the end of the world for them because we had another reset towards the end of the race. It very much felt like stages like you might see in NASCAR or whatever, and I make that comparison quite often because I think it's true.
I definitely, I think you're right with that one. For that, let's get over to the post-race interview screens because we got some some drivers.
All three of them.
I know it's insane. Who do we go with first? I guess we'll go with Shizu. No, which do we go for the race positions or what we think the race positions are going to be? Let's get Shizu Tom in here. Let's start with Shizu Tom.
Hello, Tom. Are you with us?
Hello, I am with you.
Podium, mate. We think, based on P3, we think, based on Kai's potential penalty removal, a whirlwind of a race today. So many different conditions. How was it for you just getting the balance right?
It was all right. I think the rain, I struggled. I had damage, and I got span on lap 1. Then I think I didn't drive that much on the inters with anyone. I was just at the back. Then I pitted for dries on the perfect lap, so I jumped all the way up to like P7 or something. Then I was just sitting in the train. It's like every other race.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to really phrase that race for you because, like you said, at the end of the race, that train, but the penalties were creeping in for some drivers. How were you getting on with the track limits in terms of warnings?
I don't think I got any in the race, so I was all right at the end. But yeah, that was just because I wasn't driving on the limit because I haven't done much practice, so I wasn't like going wide very often, so I wasn't close to the track limits. So at the end, obviously, I gained a place to Stonks because he got a track limit penalty. So it was definitely worth driving slower than getting whip warnings, obviously.
And P4 and P3 for you now in consecutive races. Good form, putting that bad luck behind you now?
It's WOR. I don't think I'll put any bad luck behind me just yet. But yeah, 2 races in a row that I've got a good result in. That's probably like a record for me in WOR. Usually it's 2 DNFs, but yeah, I don't know if I'll keep the podium, but I'd take another P4 or something. I'm still going to be up there, I think. But yeah, I'm still happy to finish after having damage on lap 1.
Great race, Tom. Gareth?
Yeah, just a quick one, Tom. What a race! Obviously, from a spectator's point of view, from Joseph and I, it was absolutely incredible. But how was it as a driver having literally every possible outcome in a race happen?
Well, I like it because it sort of levels out the playing field, and with the setup, everyone went different. So it was actually it was crazy. Like Imola, if it was just a dry Imola race, that would have been so boring unless there's like safety cars, which it usually is. But yeah, it's definitely more fun to do scenarios like that where it's like wet, dry. Sadly, it was supposed to rain at the end, but it didn't actually rain, so it could have been more exciting. But
Wow,
I didn't actually drive on the wets. I just went into the dry.
I if it went to wets back at the end, that would have just probably topped it off for I think most people. But congratulations, Tom. Great drive, and I'm glad you've got a little bit of the bad luck behind you, and hope touch wood it stays that way.
Yes, thank you.
All right then. Next, where do we go? Do we go Cameron Dowds as we think he's going to finish P2, or do we go Kai Pearson?
I'm 99% sure that penalty gets removed. So which whatever.
Yeah, we'll throw Cameron Dowds in here because it's always confusing. But welcome along, Cameron, and Joseph, over to you, my friend.
Oh, Cam, really tough race again for you today, but there was a lot you did right, including that first safety car restart. You were absolutely gone. Was the confidence there for you in those mixed conditions?
Not really, no. I didn't do very much practice for this race. I didn't think I'd be anywhere near the front, to be honest. But I just in the race, I just felt good, to be honest. I didn't feel I was driving brilliantly, but the pace was just naturally there. And then, yeah, it was a good race. I didn't make too many mistakes. The restarts were good. I think I just ended up because it was a little bit wet. I ended up going in a corner, and then it's just really hard to follow. So I just got a decent start, and then I think I think I had low wings compared to the rest, but I'm not 100%. And then yeah, but I'm definitely in a Kai's definitely won that. He'll get that 5 second removed, 100%. So it'll be second, hopefully. I know Stonks caught 2 warnings in the first 2 laps, so he might get that removed. But hopefully he just ended up going off on the inters or wets or whatever tire he was on, and it was just mistakes. So yeah, hopefully P2, and it was a good race.
Any comments on the fights with Stonks that you had towards the end? Because I know you were going for it on the straight, and the gap suddenly closed, and then the next lap you sort of had him out wide at turn 3. What was that like?
I thought it was decently clean. I mean, we both did like the exact same thing to each other. Like he ended up almost spinning me, and then I think I ended up doing almost the same to him. So I'd say it was pretty clean. Maybe it was a bit on the edge, but I had nothing wrong with it.
Fair play. Great drive again, Cameron. Garrett.
Yeah,
Gareth.
Put your teeth back in, Joseph. Cameron,
Yes.
great drive. I mean, you've got your strategy calls with the pits absolutely spot on. I don't want to say was it planned, but what was your mindset?
There's just people in the party just starting at me to pit, so I just did that.
Very good. Who was it?
Tom Roberts.
Great. That's teamwork if I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, congratulations, Cameron. What a race from you. Unlucky for not claiming the victory, but you must be over the moon with second. And good luck for the remainder of the season.
Yep. Thank you.
I guess that now leaves us with a certain Kai Pearson who, had an incredible race. And hopefully he can hear us. But over to you, Joseph.
We think that's another win for you. For the record, we'll say it is because, well, you very much deserve it once again. But the start, you started on wets. You were going straight on at Ravazza. It was tough. Did you think at that point you'd made the wrong call?
Oh yeah, literally straight away, start lap 2. I saw that we were not dropping the inters at all, and I was in Crispy's ear saying, "Why have you made me go on wet?" And then overheated, locked the fronts, went straight on. Thought the race was completely finished there, but safety car brought me back in.
So with that penalty with Cameron, was it the case of him just slowing down? You just I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it was just like on the exit of the corner. I guess he's just like slowed down straight away as soon as the safety car's gone in, and I didn't really have time to react. It was like a minorest touch, like ever, so it should get removed.
The second win of the season. Of course, you put that bad result in Saudi Arabia behind you. It should really be 3 in a row from your point of view, shouldn't it?
Yeah, that's silly mistakes in Saudi.
Fair play, mate. Gareth?
I mean, great recovery drive and also mentality after a poor week by your standards last week. So, I mean, how do you prepare yourself when obviously flitting between PC and Xbox and those minor mistakes that you come back from?
It is quite hard to adapt. Like it takes maybe like half an hour to get back used to console because of the input delay. But yeah, no, I think it's just like the good people like around me. Like in PSGL, I got taken out, and there's just people there saying keep at it, keep doing what you're doing. The pace is there, so it's just one race at a time, and we move on from the incidents.
Obviously, if we're guessing is right, you obviously take victory tonight. You extend your championship lead after 3 rounds. That's obviously a great feeling, especially with Joe Murphy, your closest rival, only managing, I think, P9 in the end, maybe P8. Obviously, you're going to be wanting to win the title, but how's your thoughts going with only 7 rounds remaining?
Yeah, no, it's quite positive. I've completely forgot what the calendar is, but I'm pretty sure I don't like pretty much every single track on it, so we just got to maximise each one. And as long as we qualify like top 6, I think I can win every race.
Fair enough. I think I remember from week 1 you saying that you dislike the calendar, so we'll wait and see. But I mean, great race, absolutely phenomenal drive to get yourself back and take victory tonight. So congratulations and good luck for the remainder of the season.
Thank you.
Well, Joseph, what we've had an absolute insane race, haven't we?
Good fun, that. I think it's fair to say, and it's nice to hear some pretty joyous drivers as well. I think they enjoyed the mixed challenge of that, the strategical blunders that weren't to be, a few lifelines with the safety car, but that's just what makes it is what is making this season quite enjoyable so far.
Yeah, and it's a shame. Was it furious that, before the last safety car, we didn't get a full chance to see what he could have done at the end? C'est la vie, I think, is all we can really do and say. But a great race, nonetheless. I don't think we could have had anything more from that, and that's great. Possibly race of the game cycle, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the 30-odd races that we'd have done by the end of the game cycle here in WR Tier 1, but again, the racing was generally clean. We had all the conditions, some crashes, but you're going to get that at a tricky circuit like this.
Definitely. I wonder if we can just quickly have a look at the calendar. There it is. Calendar. Next is Azerbaijan, then Canada, then Italy, then China. Italy is Monza, by the way, for those of you who don't know that we.
Thank you.
China, Austria, Miami, and Brazil. Sorry, Joseph. It wasn't particularly aimed at you. However, obviously we made that mistake when we were speaking to. Well, I say we. I'm trying. Anyway, so great. Well, great calendar if you're not Kai Pearson to follow us through here. But you know what? It's going to be a great end of the season, and I think it's just showcase what WR is all about. So thank you so much for watching and putting up with the technical difficulties on the stream side, but also the incredible race that we had as well. It's definitely one to rewatch, maybe from about the second safety car with the audio glitch going as well. But it's been an incredible one. Please join us next week, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Jolly.